Hi there. Many others like you have asked, what are the 70 weeks of Daniel? Let's find out, shall we? You can discover even more answers on GotQuestions.org. The 70 weeks prophecy is one of the most significant and detailed Messianic prophecies of the Old Testament. It is found in Daniel 9. The chapter begins with Daniel praying for Israel, acknowledging the nation's sins against God and asking for God's mercy. As Daniel prayed, the angel Gabriel appeared to him and gave him a vision of Israel's future. The divisions of the 70 weeks. In verse 24, Gabriel says 70 sevens are decreed for your people and your holy city. Almost all commentators agree that the 70 sevens should be understood as 70 weeks of years. In other words, a period of 490 years. These verses provide a sort of clock that gives an idea of when the Messiah would come and some of the events that would accompany his appearance. The prophecy goes on to divide the 490 years into three smaller units, one of 49 years, one of 434 years, and one of 7 years. The final week of 7 years is further divided in half. Verse 25 says, "From the time the word goes out to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the Anointed One, the ruler, comes, there will be 7 sevens and 62 sevens. 7 sevens is 49 years, and 62 sevens is another 434 years. 49 years plus 434 years equals 483 years. The purpose of the 70 weeks. The prophecy contains a statement concerning God's sixfold purpose in bringing these events to pass. Notice that these results concern the total eradication of sin and the establishing of righteousness. The prophecy of the 70 weeks summarizes what happens before Jesus sets up his millennial kingdom. Of special note is to atone for wickedness, with Jesus' death accomplishing this atonement for sin. The fulfillment of the 70 weeks. Gabriel said the prophetic clock would start at the time that a decree was issued to rebuild Jerusalem. This historical command was given by the king of Persia, circa 444 BC, effectively starting the 483-year countdown. The first unit of 49 years, 7 sevens, covers the time that it took to rebuild Jerusalem, with streets and a trench, but in times of trouble. This rebuilding is chronicled in the book of Nehemiah. Converting the 360-day year used by the ancient Jews, 483 years becomes 476 years on our current solar calendar. Adjusting for the switch from BC to AD, 476 years after 444 BC places us at AD 33, which would coincide with Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. The prophecy in Daniel 9 specifies that after the completion of the 483 years, the Anointed One will be cut off. This was fulfilled when Jesus was crucified. Daniel 9:26 continues with a prediction that after the Messiah is killed, the people of the ruler who will come will destroy the city and the sanctuary. This was fulfilled with the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70. The ruler who will come is a reference to the Antichrist, who it seems will have some connection with Rome, since it was the Romans who destroyed Jerusalem. The final week of the 70 weeks. Of the 70 sevens, 69 have been fulfilled in history. This leaves one more 7 yet to be fulfilled. Many scholars believe that we are now living in a huge gap between the 69th week and the 70th week. The prophetic clock has been paused, as it were. The final 7 of Daniel is what we usually call the tribulation period. Daniel's prophecy reveals the Antichrist will confirm a covenant with many for 1 7. However, in the middle of the 7, he will set up an abomination that causes desolation in the temple. After the Antichrist breaks the covenant with Israel, a time of great tribulation begins. Daniel also predicts that the Antichrist will face judgment that is already planned. In conclusion, the prophecy of the 70 weeks is complex and amazingly detailed, and much has been written about it. Of course, there are various interpretations, but one thing is certain: God has a timetable, and he is keeping things on schedule. All right, that answers your question. What are the 70 weeks of Daniel? Thanks for watching.